There's a current inside every man that most people never truly grasp. A force often squandered, misunderstood, or left to rot. Yet, when seized and redirected, it becomes a weapon capable of rewriting the course of your life. That current is sexual energy, and what you do with it determines whether it chains you or crowns you. Napoleon Hill, author of Think and Grow Rich, called this process sexual transmutation. He wasn't writing a manual for quick money. He spent 25 years dissecting the minds of 500 empire builders. Presidents, inventors, titans of industry, artists who bent culture itself. In the middle of all his discoveries, desire, faith, specialized knowledge, there was one principle that unsettled readers the most: the mastery of sexual energy. Hill declared sex the strongest of human hungers, stronger than the need for food, stronger than comfort. Why? Because no other fire drives men to build, conquer, or destroy the way sexual desire does. But here's the revelation. Men who enslave this energy, who command it, ignite levels of genius unreachable to the undisciplined. So what does transmute actually mean? Think of it as reforging raw metal. You take the molten power of sexual desire and hammer it into something entirely new: wealth, art, invention, legacy. Hill wrote, "Sexual desire is not merely physical. It is emotional, spiritual, and mental. When directed, it becomes a force capable of elevating one to great heights of achievement." Notice, he never told you to bury your sexuality. He never told you to run from it. He told you to weaponize it. Because sexual energy is creative energy at its core, the literal spark that generates life. If not channeled, it doesn't vanish, stagnates, festers, poisons you with frustration. But when directed, it becomes rocket fuel for building things that outlive you. Modern science now backs what Hill observed. When testosterone and desire are not dissipated, your system sharpens. Focus hardens. Aggression becomes productive. Willpower surges. You become hungrier, sharper, faster. But it only transforms if you aim it at something beyond your own indulgence. Without a mission, the energy collapses back into lust and leaves you hollow. History makes the point clearer than theory. Napoleon Bonaparte redirected passion into empire. Washington turned intensity into loyalty and discipline. Edison forged invention after invention with relentless obsession. Lincoln took his inner fire and burned it into justice and vision. These men were not free of desire. They were inflamed with it. The difference? They refused to kneel before it. They made it serve their work, their purpose, their destiny. Most men are prisoners of their lust desires. They scroll endlessly, click endlessly, release endlessly, and then wonder why they walk through life exhausted, restless, and hollow. Lust has become the emperor and discipline the jester. The warning was written nearly a century ago by Napoleon Hill. Most men never learn to control their sexual impulses. When guided by that desire, they lose control of reason and act on impulse. He wasn't despising desire, he was demanding mastery. Unharnessed, it robs you. Trained, it crowns you. So let's strip the mystery away. What does it actually mean to channel this energy in the 21st century? How do you take the oldest fire in the human body and make it the engine of your destiny? Step 1. Semen retention. Not forever, but long enough to remember you are not a slave. Every careless release drains the very fuel your mind and muscles need to hunt, to focus, to conquer. 30 days without porn. 30 days of refusal to waste your spark. Watch your thoughts clear. Watch your drive sharpen. Feel your body swell with hunger for real victories. That pressure is not your enemy. It's the jet fuel waiting for ignition. Step 2. Redirect the surge. The moment desire rises, Don't crush it. Command it. Pour it into the work, into your training, into the empire you're building, into the conversations where confidence matters more than lust. Hill declared, "A man who has developed the art of transmuting sexual energy will find that this energy becomes the fuel for all of his accomplishments." That's not poetry, it's physics of the soul. Step 3, give it a mission. Energy without direction always decays into indulgence. Ask yourself every dawn, what am I building that deserves this power? If your answer is nothing, then your strength will be squandered on momentary pleasure. But if your answer is legacy, vision, empire, then every ounce of restraint becomes sacred. Step 4, face the ultimatum. Hill's last word was merciless. Sexual energy is the creative energy of all geniuses. There never has been and never will be a great leader, builder, or thinker without sexual energy. This is not optional. You stand at the crossroads, one path of release and stagnation, the other of discipline and greatness. The man who governs his desire will always eclipse the one consumed by it. Step 5, rule the flame. To feel desire is not weakness. To crave intimacy is not shame. It is proof of your sacred force. But power without command turns into chaos. Transmutation is not a trick. It's a code of life. It is the covenant to use what God placed in you not for waste, but for creation. To lead instead of drift. To craft a future instead of collapse into urges. Hill left us the architecture. Now you decide if you'll build. Because inside you is an ancient force, the same fire that once drove men to fight for survival. Left ungoverned, it enslaves. But refined, it becomes the fuel of artists, inventors, leaders, giants. Sigmund Freud saw this clearly and named it sublimation. And today we turn to him to explore what this transformation really is, how it operates, and how you can wield it in your own life. Now let's talk about sublimation by Freud. At the heart of Freud's vision was a startling claim. Human life runs on a secret current of desire. He called it the libido, not just the hunger for sex, but the raw vitality behind ambition, anger, creativity, and connection. In his eyes, it was life's battery pack, the voltage driving every action and obsession. But imagine if every impulse, lust, violence, domination, erupted unfiltered into the world. Civilization would collapse into riot. Freud's genius was to notice what actually happens. The current doesn't vanish. It bends. It finds another channel. That bending, that refinement of primal charge into works of culture, invention, or faith, he named sublimation, psychological alchemy. Think of it this way. Sublimation is the craft of turning instinct into empire. Cravings become cathedrals. Restlessness becomes research. Desire becomes destiny. And here's where people often stumble. They confuse sublimation with suppression. Suppression is like locking dynamite in a box and pretending it isn't ticking. Push your hunger underground, and it returns as addiction, rage, or collapse. Freud compared this to a sealed vessel under pressure. It bursts when ignored. Sublimation, in contrast, is conscious redirection. You see the fire, you acknowledge it, then you build an engine to run on it. The fighter channels aggression into the ring. The rescuer uses it to run into burning buildings. The designer transforms erotic intensity into beauty on a stage or in a gown. The poet, consumed by longing, inks verses that outlast centuries. Desire is not smothered, it is recruited. That's why Freud insisted sublimation was not just therapy for individuals. It was the scaffolding of civilization itself. In Civilization and Its Discontents, he declared that without sublimation there would be no art, no science, no order. Without sublimation, culture could not exist. Every city skyline, every book, every breakthrough began as raw instinct tamed and redirected. Look at history's giants. Michelangelo, straining on scaffolds for years, transformed obsession into sacred frescoes. Tesla, celibate and relentless, gave his energy to birthing electricity and machines of the future. Beethoven, trapped in silence, still channeled his inner storms into symphonies that shook the world. Freud himself burned with the intensity of his own ideas, chiseling out the modern map of the unconscious. These were not passionless men. They were men who learned to command passion instead of being consumed by it. And in our own age, this principle doesn't fade, it sharpens. Which is why the next question must be faced. Why sublimation in the modern world matters now more than ever. We live in an age of overdose, an era where the anthem is, if it feels good, do it. Every craving must be answered, every itch scratched instantly. And yet, beneath the neon glow of indulgence, you see the hollow eyes. Rising depression, spiraling anxiety, lives without anchor. Why? Because indulgence exhausts the soul. Desire left untamed drains meaning. Desire redirected builds meaning. Freud warned that when a society abandons the pressure of sublimation, it collapses backwards. Innovation withers. Strength dissolves. Genius dies. Look around. The proof is everywhere. Hands welded to phones, thumb flicking for hits of cheap dopamine. Minds hooked on distraction. Hearts begging for approval in endless loops of likes and comments. We are drowning our primal current instead of forging it into a weapon. Freud wouldn't blink, he foresaw this decay. Yet he would remind us, the answer is not to kill desire. The answer is to raise it. This is the mind's alchemy. Sublimation is the transmutation of instinct into immortality. It is what carves art from agony, discipline from chaos, leadership from longing. Freud delivered many storms of controversy, but here he handed a weapon, a path to transform your wildest urges into iron and brilliance. You are the smith. The fire within you is ancient, untamed, and waiting for command. Waste it on scrolling, on vices, on shallow escape, and you burn out. Shape it, sculpt it, direct it, and you illuminate your world. Never mistake desire as weakness. It is proof of life. You are not broken for craving intimacy, thrill, or connection. You are alive. But this modern circus of flashing screens and easy shortcuts wants you docile, reactive, addicted. The seeker is not reactive. The seeker chooses. The seeker harnesses. This is why sexual transmutation and sublimation matter. Not for dominion over others, but for dominion over self. That is the rarest crown, the highest respect. You were made for more. More than vices. More than the dead-end cycle of pleasure and regret. You were made to forge, to build, to carve your energy into legacy. Napoleon Hill mapped it. Freud unveiled the furnace. But walking into the fire, that is yours alone. So I ask you, will you ride the flame or be consumed by it? The seeker does not cower before desire. He bends it, he channels it, and with it, he sets the horizon ablaze. If this message spoke to you, don't let it end here. I want you to prove you're ready to reclaim your power by doing just these two things. First, like this video and subscribe to the channel. That's your signal, you're not just listening, you're locking in. 2. Drop this in the comments right now. Today, I've made up my mind to stop wasting my energy on empty release. That sentence is your contract. With yourself. With your future. No more leaks. No more living on low power. Write it. Mean it. Then get to work.